What's considered a living expense? Why is this important in setting my budget? In this video, I'm going to explain the difference between living expenses and debts and why it's important to differentiate between the two. I'm also going to show you where to place this information in my budget tool and how it can streamline your budget setting process. To receive your own copy of the tool, subscribe to my email list found on my website, millsknowsbills.com. And to make sure you don't miss out on any future videos about practical budget setting tips, information from experts, or other personal finance advice, subscribe to my YouTube channel here. New videos will be posted every Tuesday, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. So, what are living expenses? Living expenses is really just another way to say the cost of living, and Investopedia.com defines the cost of living as the amount of money needed to sustain a certain standard of living by affording basic expenses such as housing, food, taxes, and healthcare. In other words, living expenses are items that everyone, and I mean everyone, must pay to live. Certain cities have a higher cost of living than others, which is why it's important to make sure that those salaries in those cities compensate for the higher standard of living. Let me show you a few examples and where you can actually place this information on the budget setting tool. Okay, so this is what the budget setting tool looks like. As you can see, I'm just building off the old Excel sheet that I've shown in previous examples with Tom and Carrie. So you're just going to scroll down until you hit the living expenses information portion. As you can see, I have examples of what these include on the right-hand side, and you're just going to want to go ahead and put that information here. So I'm going to put in some rent, my internet, water, and let's just pick one more for this example, Hulu. Okay. And I'm going to put the monthly payment amount on the right-hand side. And then I'm just going to go over to the budget template tab, and you can see how it automatically populates in the expenses portion here. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention, the difference between a living expense versus a debt payment. A living expense for a car would be putting gas in it each month, versus if you owe money on your car and you had to pay the dealership or the credit union or the bank your monthly payment, that would be considered a debt. Comment below if you're unsure if something is a living expense or a debt item. I'll respond and let you know. You want to make sure your living expenses are completely filled out on the sheet so you can properly estimate how much of an emergency fund you will need. Debt payments are also included in the emergency fund, so I'll actually go over that in next week's video. If you don't have my free budget setting tool yet, subscribe to my email list found on my website, millsknowsbills.com. If you learned something new, please like the video below. To make sure you don't miss out on any future videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure to click the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.